Welcome to They Live by Film, a platform dedicated to bringing you film discussion and interviews from around the world. I am Adam Lundy, and I am joined as always by my co-hosts Chris Haskell and Zach Bryant.
Hello.
Hello, folks. We made it. We
Oh
we
my
made.
God. I'm a
We're
religious
here.
man this morning. I'm so happy this run is over.
I had fun.
Yeah, I would
I,
say besides this episode, I at least had one movie from each episode that I really, really liked.
Here's a question for you guys, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you rather, if you had to restart this run or the Von Trier run again from tomorrow, which would you prefer to do?
This one, this one, 100%.
No, for me it's Von Trier easily.
You're a masochist.
Yeah, like no kidding, man. And I
You
liked
hate
a lot of
yourself.
those movies, and I'm like, I would not ever do a full run through of his again. Like, I could not do it.
Uh, awesome. Um, Probably try and do this snappy, but if we want to do any other business, is there anything that like really jumped out at anybody that they want to shout out before we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of the episode?
Just go watch Long Legs. That is my only
I
recommendation for
want to
people.
watch it so bad.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
that.
like desperately trying to avoid spoilers. I'm like fighting spoilers. I had to unfollow Neon on Twitter because they kept like retweeting memes and stuff, and I just seemed spoilery. I need to unfollow you guys for because Neon have just been clogging up my. I've known about long legs for fucking months because Neon have just been clogging my feed with so much long leg stuff.
I mean, credit
Um,
to them. I mean, their
yeah,
marketing has been fantastic. Like, and it
and
showed.
I'm waiting for the whole cycle to begin again with this Chris Stuckman film. What's it called? Something
Shelby Oaks.
Shelby Oaks. It's all going to start all over again. The process and I'm looking forward to that film already as well. And I barely know anything about it.
Well,
All I
it's
know is
like,
Mike Flanagan is producing it and they're distributing it. So yeah,
yeah, and then what was it? Yeah, with Long Legs, they have like a whole like alternate reality game going. Like you can go on like a website that looks like it was made in the 90s and look at crime scene photos and get
jeez,
more information and saw like you get files you can download and you have to figure out the password to like open these files. So they've like really went all out for this. It's
that's
really
cool
cool.
though. Yeah,
Yeah.
need to
What?
see more of that.
How was the second weekend for Long Legs? Because it was a shocker last weekend, huh? This was box.
I can make it quick. Let me see. Long
I remember I saw the
Legs.
poster they put out was really good. It was like the number one movie in America, and then in small print after Despicable Me 4.
Uh,
Let's see. They haven't updated the Sunday numbers yet. And that's really I guess what they're waiting on because they'll have the Sunday numbers up by noon because that's one of the weird quirks in box office is you can set a timer to what Sunday is going to make based on Friday and Saturday, and it's never
right.
wrong. Like it's strange.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know exactly what you mean. Okay, that's fine.
Right now, it's at $40 million.
Which is crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, well done on them.
Yeah, I mean, this was their for a company that had things like Parasite and a lot of other like pretty major movies. This is one of their highest grossing. It was their highest gross opening weekend by far. So
Awesome.
Very dope.
yeah, yeah.
If I'm gonna throw in a must watch quickly, I've been watching a fair amount of movies actually, recently, but there is y'all are gonna laugh when I say this, so I'll be ready to take it. I'll embrace. There is a X-rated
Oh God,
Here we
here we
go.
go.
um, comedy that Vinegar Syndrome put out as their 10th release, or seventh release. One it's somewhere in the top 10. It's called The Telephone Book. There's a cartoon at the end that got it the X rating. Otherwise, it would have been an R. It's I don't know. Have y'all ever seen a movie called Candy from the 60s?
No,
From Okay,
I've seen Candy Snatchers, but I assume that's not the same thing.
not the same thing.
Okay.
I've seen Hard
Candy.
Candy.
No, Candy is a really weird movie. Anyways, doesn't matter. This is a it's really funny. So this is the only directorial feature from the director, from this guy named Nelson Lyon. He would go on to write for Saturday Night Live for several years and had a career writing in comedy. And he made this really weird and like surprisingly artistic movie that's about this woman that gets an obscene phone call, like a from a guy just dialing random numbers and commanding the woman to do like sexual things. But for some
They
reason, it
do.
turns her on. So she goes on this odyssey to try to find this guy in the city, and his name is John Smith, and he just says, "I'm in the phone book." That's all he did. But the movie is hilarious and wild, and Sam Deegan calls it one of her favorite movies of all time. I found out. So there's some credence there. It's not just me being a sneaky perv.
Have you
Uh,
ever seen that movie Compliance that came out like maybe like 10 or 12 years ago?
oh, is it a remake?
No, it's actually based on a true story of like these people get a call at this like little fast food place and they say, hey, the girl up front stole some money. And it really is like a story about how much people will listen to somebody in authority because they get her to like completely undress and take pictures and stuff like
Oh,
that. And the upsetting part is you'll go in and read it. It's like it said based on a true story, and you take that with a grain of salt. I went in and like read the case, and I'm like, they just kept it like it's so outrageous. Like I won't spoil it, but how far they go just because some guy on the phone said he was from corporate and they believed him.
wow, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I have to see that. That seems like a good double feature with that one German story about the prisoners versus the guards, um, where they took 12 strangers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
And
the
made,
experiment. What was it?
The
It was
Stafford
American.
prison
Stanford
experiment.
prison experiment. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was a true story as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, we it's a every psychology class will make you go over that case. Like
you're
it's
Yeah.
fascinating.
right.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. Cool. But that's it. Other than that, I just have to, we have to call out, Zach and I are you a subscriber to Deaf Crocodile or just got the first one?
No, I got a I'm a 12-month subscriber.
Okay. Yeah, same. Cheers. That package is beautiful. They did a
Yeah,
great job with it.
yeah, it looks it's well built. It is a very well built set.
That's all from that's my truncated version. Adam, what about
I've yeah, just a couple of things really. I watched a couple of Radiance releases that came out at the end of June. Um, one was excellent. It's one of the best films I've seen this year. It's called The Bandits of Orgosolo. It's an Italian neorealist film. The plot is kind of similar to Bicycle Thieves, but it's with sheep rather than bikes. Um, but it's really really great. Cinematography is beautiful. It was done by the director as well. It's a guy called Vittorio De Seta, rather than Vittorio De Sica. Obviously, he did Bicycle Thieves. Um, but he also made a bunch of short films which
Hey,
are
yeah, this is
included.
your guy.
This is my guy. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I talked about this guy years ago because I watched all these short films on the Criterion channel. And all the short films are included with this release as well. It's a really, really great release from Radiance. And I was really excited to watch, a feature because I'd only ever seen his shorts. And the feature's really, really great. So I'd recommend watching that if you're picking up Radiance stuff. I also watched the first film in the Jean-Pierre Macchi box set, the Agitator box set from them. This film is called Litan. It's really weird. It's kind of like a mix of Don't Look Now and Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. Just this kind
Oh,
of really kind of surreal, fantastic horror film that's kind of set like in contemporary times, but it has all these kind of weird fantasy elements and stuff, and just this really cool atmosphere. Um, thought that was very good. I'm looking forward to watching the other two films in that set because I've been reading good things about them. And the only other thing of interest, I watched a couple of other things that were like okay and nothing to really shout out about. I finally watched the new Planet of the Apes movie and I was disappointed by it. I don't think it's as good as the Matt Reeves ones.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
your rating. I do think they're a weaker than the last two, but I did like it.
yeah, it was fine. Like, it's 3 stars, it's like a 6 out of 10. It was fine. I just thought they didn't look as good. CGI wasn't as strong. A lot of it just looked like a video game, like a PS5 game or something, is what it really reminded me of. A lot of scenes. I don't think the plot was as strong. I don't think the characters were as likable or as strong. I just everything was just kind of a step down to like War and what's the other one?
Dawn.
Dawn and stuff like that. Yeah, I thought they were a pretty step down. And I watched another film. I watched both of these films yesterday. That and finally got around to Skinamarink. It took me a while to finally get around to seeing it. I'd only really known about it from its reputation. I didn't actually know too much about the film itself. It's really, really weird, really cool film. I really enjoyed it. I know it's divisive. I just love how it looks. I didn't know it was going to have that kind of VHS style kind of grain to it. Um, Very interesting film, and I've been thinking about it a lot, especially in lying in bed in the dark last night, thinking about the final shot of Skin of a Ring kept popping into my head. If you know, you know. Yeah,
That's just a
that's all
movie.
for
I
me.
think you get what you put into it. Like I think that's all it is. If you're willing to like, I understand. I completely understand why people hate it, but it's like it's not going to do anything for you. Like you have to. Like I remember when I watched it, I heard so much about it. I was like, all right, it's going to be completely dark. I'm not going to have my phone on me or anything like that. And I thought it was much more effective, just like putting the
Yeah,
time into it.
and like I sat and watched this in the middle of the day with my daughter asleep on my chest with the blinds wide open, and I still got something out of it. I could see it definitely being a lot more effective in like a theater or like in a dark room at night with no lights on anywhere else in the room. I could see it being even more effective, but I still enjoyed it watching in the middle of the day, my blinds open, my daughter asleep on my chest, and it was fine. So, you just gotta, when you're a new dad, you gotta take any opportunity you can to watch a movie. She fell asleep, and I'm like, okay, movie time.
Absolutely.
So, cool. Uh, right, I suppose we'll get this over with. Um, can we start with Hobbs and Shaw? I know, is this technically in?
I think
Yeah,
that came
it is
out before nine.
chronological.
Yeah, it
It
came out
did. Yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
did. It did. Okay. Hobbs and Shaw. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Sorry. I never actually checked to see if there was a weird Japanese title for these ones. Let me just pull up Wikipedia real quick. So it'll show me there. Hobbs and Shaw. Wikipedia. Um Yeah, no, it doesn't look as though there is, unfortunately, for all of us. But the description from Letterboxd reads as follows. Oh, for fuck's sake, this is long. Ever since U.S. Diplomatic Security Service agent Hobbs and lawless outcast Shaw first faced off, they they just have swapped smacks and bad words. Oh my, this is another terrible description. But when cybergenetically enhanced anarchist Brixton's ruthless actions threaten the future of humanity, both join forces to defeat him. Uh, the people who are writing these descriptions, I've noticed with the last few that we've done, they come across as like they've been put through Google Translate 3 times. Uh, if you know what I mean.
I
Yeah.
think they're
Anyway,
trying to be like cheeky and quippy, but it just comes off as bad English.
yeah, it really does. It really does. It reminds me of some of my reviews that I write sometimes, which you know. Anyway, I'm gonna be very quick on this. This movie's a fucking piece of shit. This is the worst movie I've seen this year. I hated every minute of it. The only thing that got it 1 star was that Vanessa Kirby's in it, and she's awesome. Everything else is horrible, and I hated every moment of this film.
Well, for me, I don't have. I'm not going to have strong opinions about any of these. I would say of the three we're going to talk about, this one's my favorite, just because I don't know. It's one I could throw on like while I'm cleaning house, and I would be okay with it. Like it has fun enough scenes. I'm fine with it. That's kind of it.
So the critics agree with you, Adam. At least nobody puts it on their top 10 or whatever. It's not on the list at all. I would be stunned if this was on a top 10 list.
I would be concerned more than stunned.
David Lynch doesn't even put it on his top 10 list.
Um, you know, I watched the order that I watched these in is nine, Hobbs and Shaw, and then 10. I don't know
Okay.
the order I was supposed to watch them. It's just the way that I did it.
That's fine. I watched it X. No, I watched Hobbs and Shaw X and nine. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's actually kind of funny because nine and 10 sort of, well, anyways, um, I just, I just don't understand what happened. Like, I think I know that we're going to disagree on this, Zach. We can wait to get into that. I think nine is possibly the best in the franchise. Like
What
they,
the
Fuck.
fuck?
they
Jesus
just go crazy.
Christ.
They just go crazy. And like it's fun. Like I think they lean into their insanity, but like I finally kind of got it. Like I was having fun. And then but this Hobbs and Shaw and X, they just don't need to be made. Like they're just the biggest piles of garbage. Like Hobbs and Shaw is a big nothing burger. It's like I'm stunned it was made, and I'm stunned it made any money at all. It's just so bad, so bad.
I'm actively insulted by Hobbs and Shaw. Like I feel
I'm
like
just trying to figure out what, like, I'm not going to sit here and defend it staunchly because I don't think it's great or good, but
uh,
like, I don't know
the
what there's to be really offended about, I
the
guess.
script is horrible. It's like it was written by like I don't even know. There's just so much random bullshit lines in it and like weird like era specific references that are just so out of place and mean nothing. Like there's that
I
scene
mean, it's a Marvel
where
movie.
no, but like this takes the cake sometimes. The one that really got to me, it just gets under my skin, is that scene where fucking Ryan Reynolds showed up, and I should have fucking known he was going to show his face at some point. But he showed up, Ryan Reynolds showed up, and I was like, fuck's sake, it's fucking Ryan Reynolds. Um, and for some reason they're having this conversation, and I can't remember what leads to it, but like The Rock turns to his like 12-year-old daughter and says, "He knows nothing, Jon Snow." Like, what? Like, where is he bringing? Why is he pulling a Game of Thrones reference out of his ass
Wait,
and
they
saying
were
it?
talking about Game of Thrones before that.
What? Were they?
Yeah, there's a part where he's handing the file and she's like, "You can't see that." He's like, "Well, I've seen worse on Game of Thrones." Like, "Where did you see Game of Thrones?" And she's like, "At my friend, I don't know, her name's like Jamie or something's house."
Oh
So
my
when he says
God.
that, he's referencing back to that.
I hate this movie so much.
No, so
I
this is
hate it.
Adam, the non sequiturs are um, they make sense if you look at who the director is.
I don't want to
So
do that though.
David Leitch is not that, like, David Leitch has not like created anything amazing except for he was part of the first
Oh
John Wick.
God. I just saw he made Deadpool 2.
exactly.
Deadpool 2 is not bad. It's not as
No,
good as the first one. It's not bad.
I I don't hate Deadpool too, but it that works with Ryan Reynolds, I think.
It makes sense why he showed up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard Bullet Train's fun. I
Bullet
haven't
Train's
seen it.
good. Yeah.
I've heard Bullet Train is fun.
Atomic Blonde is really good. I actually really like Atomic Blonde.
Wait, is
I know.
Wait, oh, never mind. I'm thinking of Train to Busan. I haven't seen Bullet Train.
Bullet Train's Brad Pitt. Brad
That
Pitt,
would
it's
be
like, yeah.
insane if this guy made Train to
Yeah,
Busan.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, it's kind of like
yeah.
what is Gareth Evans? Is he from the UK or is he American? I can't remember,
I
but it's
think
like how he
he's
made
from
the
the
Raid
UK.
movies. It's like,
Yeah, it's
okay,
random.
that's cool.
Yeah, that is random. That's
Another
random.
thing that really grind on my, I don't know if this is just me because I'm a music guy, but like some of the like this, it's. I'm sorry. This movie really fucking annoys me. Um, the like weird, and I know there's been a lot of weird songs in this franchise, like just random, just like hip hop songs or whatever, but that's fine. But like, it's almost like stock music. Like they just went to like copyright free music.com and just grabbed random shit and threw it in. And like the one that really I thought was just fucking weird was when Jason Statham goes to visit Helen Mirren in prison, and that's his mom, and they're playing like this weird like fucking horn music when they're having a conversation. It's like and I'm like, this is so. It's just like whoever's job like that's a obviously there's people have like write music scores, films have composers or whatever, but there's another job called music supervisor, which is the coolest fucking job ever. You're basically your job is to pick songs that fit, the scene. Actually like pick like actual existing music and put it in
Mm-mm.
and stuff. And that's like the coolest job ever.
Ridiculous.
Whoever did that on this should be tried for war crimes. They should be chased out of Hollywood, never be allowed to work again. I can only assume it was like some kid on work experience or something whose dad runs the studio, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, go on, you can pick the fucking music." And he was like, "Oh, well, shit, I don't know how to get in touch with rights holders. I better go to freecopyrightmusic.com and just grab a bunch of random fucking music because the movie's out tomorrow and I need to throw this shit in." Because I've just been, goofing off for the last, 4 months while this movie was being made, smoking weed at the back of the Hollywood lot. I didn't really want to do my job. That's how I imagine this all went down. Because if I try and imagine that somebody was paid to do this, I will probably kill myself. Um,
The,
yeah,
j- I'm enjoying you talking about this, but I want to call attention to something because you called called them cheap in a roundabout way for at least on the music side. This started a trend in the Final Fantasy. Damn it, I'm so tempted to always call these the Final Fantasy movies, the Fast and the Furious movies that I just don't like. They have this one cost $200 million to make, and it was like 7.5 hours long. I think
yeah.
I think the actual runtime was like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something.
Way too long, and about
But
45
why?
minutes too long.
Yeah,
I mean,
why?
they're all. I mean, let's see. How long is Fate of the Furious? Was that kind of the limit of what I would take as like
I
for a
think
film?
they're all
I
this
mean,
long,
that's
like
136 minutes, but at least I had a good time during that one.
Yeah,
yeah.
that I get maybe damn, maybe you're right. Maybe I just noticed it more on these.
Yeah,
But
Fast Seven's 137.
okay, all right,
Yeah,
fine. But
yeah.
yeah, I just really felt the runtime on this. Like
No, I
it
agree.
just
This one, because there was nothing was happening. At least with the other ones,
yeah, exactly.
shit's going on. But like
Right.
with this one, it's just like they established the plot pretty early, and then they just spend 2 hours doing nothing, and then they have the last half an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's worth because if GT if excuse me, if Chris was here, he would say, "Look, it's not that bad if you like The Rock doing The Rock things and Jason Statham doing Statham things." So there's some people that, and I know Zach, you don't hate it as much as maybe.
No,
Uh,
but I mean, in fairness, I do like Jason Statham doing Jason Statham things, so maybe that helps. I do like him quite a bit.
but I think just to be fair, so the basic premise of this movie is that there's a big baddie that
Yeah.
require Jason Statham and The Rock to have to work together, even though they don't want to work together. And
Mhm.
so they have like some banter back and forth in the beginning because they think they drag each other down and then they learn to love each other. And I think they have a baby together by the end of the movie, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I think that's the basic
I
premise.
think they named him Han, if I remember correctly.
and
Correct.
then Han has grown into a man by the time nine's
Yeah,
finished.
see, it's like that. I don't know how far you guys have gotten into The Simpsons. So there's a whole plot line in The Simpsons where Fat Tony is killed and is replaced by his like cousin Slim Tony, and then Slim Tony gains a lot of weight, and they just call him Fat Tony, and they pretend it never happened. That's what's going to happen for nine. Han is still dead. The baby from them just grew up.
I'm behind that.
Oh my
That's my
God.
head canon now.
And I think the thing that drove me crazy about this, and I think it carries on into 10 again, not to jump around too much, but they went, I kind of, I, I can accept the move from street racing heist movie to like global espionage leaders. I kind of came around on that, fine, whatever. Um, but then they do this thing in Hobbs and Shaw and X where they just mug the camera. They're just like wholesome family, like great moral leaders, and like the Rock is all about his daughter and the like little soccer thing, and like and Statham is like this sweet guy with his mom, even though they and his sister, even though they are mischievous, they're like good at heart, and like they just really like lean into the whole like look how wholesome everything is.
Where
And
have
I
you been for like the last like 10 movies about
no,
family?
no, I know, but like I just feel they like turned it up in like eight, nine, and then it just really got out of control here and in X. There, well, I'll save it for X in a minute because I think that's one of the worst abominations to ever be put on film. But Hobbs and Shaw to me is just like it's boring. It like it's this weird kind of wholesome like trying to be like Statham and The Rock are just these like family men that are put into weird situations, but the power of family and they go to the Rock's homeland and it's probably offensive to his culture somehow, even though, I mean, at least he's from Samoa, so whatever. But I don't know. The whole thing, I just hate. I just really hate.
One last thing that I want to kind of talk about with it, and I've already talked to Zach about this. I just want to see if you got it, Chris. When I was watching like the last kind of set piece, the whole thing on the island or whatever, like this was just it's the exact same ending plot point of Infinity War. It's the exact same. Because in Infinity War, Thanos needs the Mind Stone, which is in Vision's head. So all the Avengers are trying to distract Thanos so that they can extract the Mind Stone from Vision, so that they can destroy it, and that Thanos can't get his hands on it. And then this is the same as this, because Vanessa Kirby has this thing that Idris Elba needs, so they're distracting Idris Elba so she can get it out of her so they can destroy it before he gets his hands on it. It's the same. It's the same as Infinity War.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
And
and
I
I
just thought
kind
that
of
was hilarious.
yeah, and I was talking to when I was talking to you telling me about it, Adam, it just kind of like highlights because I think I brought up like plot points from Dark Knight they've used like two or three movies, and I'm like, yeah, I guess it makes sense. We're at that era now where it's Marvel's at its height, and it's like, well, we're just going to take from that now. Like kind of the whole series is like that. Before Dark Knight, they're kind of normal race movies.
yeah. I um I called the whole character of Hobbs. I in my review for Fast Five, I called him an agent of Shield. I mean, like I think they're basically just kind of copying what was working at that time in the box office, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like they are essentially a reflection of the wider kind of cinema going
Yeah.
culture at that time. Yeah, like Hobbs is almost kind of like a Nick Fury type character, really, isn't he? You know,
Yeah, and then especially uh, Kirk
oh
uh,
yeah, Kurt Russell.
Russell, sorry. Yeah, yeah, especially Kurt Russell.
He's
But
actually, yeah, he's actually much more like old style comic book Nick Fury. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But they just kind of lean into that and make a superhero movie. There's a specific reason we'll get into why I think nine. The flip switched for me, so we'll get into that in just a second.
I'm desperate to talk about nine because I always want to hear you guys argue. Because I am perfectly lukewarm, and
You're
I'm kind of
Switzerland.
like
So
the
is this what this
yeah,
episode is going to be? There's going to be a strong hate for like by two people, but one person's
yeah.
going to say it's fine, and then each one it just switches between who that
I
is.
think that's probably how this is going to be. I'm happy to be the middleman for the next two movies. I'm perfectly fine with F9 and 10. They're not high art or anything, but I had some fun. So I'm gonna be that guy for the next two. So I'm looking forward to hearing you guys swap for the next two. But we'll talk about F9 and we'll kind of go from there. So F9 saw the return of Justin Lin to the director's chair. The letterbox description is shorter, thank God. Dominic Toretto and his crew battle the most skilled assassin and high performance driver they've ever encountered, his Forsaken brother. Um,
Can I just
they,
note that Dom was the greatest driver in the world like a movie ago,
yeah,
and now this guy's even better. Okay, just want to make sure.
that's because it's his brother, man. And and I just gotta say, like, how hilarious is it that it's John Cena? Like,
it is an inspired casting
of
choice.
all, like if I was writing up a list of actors that were gonna play Vin Diesel's brother, John Cena would not even enter my mind.
Yeah, because I'm like, who most looks like a penis? That is what you've got to go with.
Ethnically ambiguous dick.
Yeah.
Who, who's it gonna be? Not John Cena.
No.
And like, do they have John Cena like wearing like fake tan or something during this as well?
I,
It's kind of weird. It's kind of dicey in a way.
I
I actually
feel
don't know. No, I actually don't know much about John Cena's background. He very much could, have kind of Latin American blood. I'm gonna look this up while you guys
no
argue.
in well, I don't know, but in Fast X he's much whiter, so I don't know what
Oh, much
happened.
wider. Yeah.
They were like, we're
Well,
not
he's
doing this.
definitely white. There's no disputing that. He's
He's apparently
definitely
got
white.
some Italian ancestry, but he is English and French Canadian.
Yeah, looking at his mother is English and French Canadian descent, while his father has Italian ancestry. So neither of them being Dominican. Yeah, Dominican, is that where they think that's where the
Yeah.
Toretto's are
Yeah.
from? Is that
Dominican.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there.
Well, I mean, they try to pull Jason Momoa off as Brazilian, so they
Yeah.
They're
That's very true. I genuinely thought the plot twist in this film was that his like John Cena wasn't his real brother. Because there was this whole thing where like John Cena seemed to have a secret about, oh, you didn't know. Didn't he say something like you didn't know our father like you thought he did, blah blah blah. And obviously we'd find out what in the end what the twist was, that his dad was gonna, throw the race or whatever.
And who gives a shit?
But
Like,
I was certain that it was gonna be like
spoiler
he
alert.
wasn't my real dad or whatever,
Ah,
But
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So John Cena comes in as the as another big cast member here, and then because they're just kind of throwing in famous people now, right? Who are the
Yeah.
other who are the other big cast members here that
In this one, Michael Rooker, probably the kind of big new
Charlie's
person.
you see,
Obviously,
I was going to bring this. I am so glad you brought this up. I was like, the reason it's his favorite is because it has a trauma actor in it. I
yeah.
was like, that's why it took a trauma actor.
No, is this the first one for Charlize Theron, or is she in
No,
a?
she's in
No,
Fate of the Furious. You bitched
she's
about her in Fate of the
yeah,
Furious.
she's the main villain in Fate of the
These all
Furious.
run together for me. I like.
And because Justin Lin is back, that means that Sung Kang also has to return.
Fuck it. Why not?
It's just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm bringing him back. If
Justin
you want,
Lin,
it's almost like that's like they came to him and they're like, Justin, we really want you to come back. Fate wasn't really what we wanted it to be. Come back into the director's chair and we'll work something out. He goes, I will come back if Sung Kang can come back.
yeah, he probably watched like Fate of the Furious 7 when Juan took over, and he's like, that motherfucker just finally took him to Tokyo and killed Han. I am so
Yeah.
pissed.
I was like, I'm gonna put my fucking foot down here. This is bullshit.
Oh, and we can't forget Mrs. WAP herself. Cardi B is
Oh my God, I
I
forgot.
forgot
Yeah.
Cardi B. I've already see this is I just watched this movie and I have forgotten so much about it.
I remember that she was in one of them. I just can't, I could not remember which one. I had assumed it was actually Hobbs and Shaw. But no, it is this one.
she's having a blast. I mean, I
And
will.
also importantly, Lucas Black, and who now looks who
Keep in
now
mind, he is
looks
now 18. He is
no.
18 years old.
Right, like Neve has been watching, like kind of like half watching these with me, and every now and again she'll like look up and she'll just go like, "What the fuck?" Especially when like she saw that they were going to space. They're like, "Are they going to space?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it looks like it." She goes, "What the fuck?" And then I said, "Look, that's the guy from Tokyo Drift," and she's like, "Jesus, he looks terrible." I'm like, "Yeah, this is like a year after Tokyo Drift." She
He
was
lost
like, "What?"
he lost all his body mass and everything. Dude had a rough year.
He had a rough year. Yeah, and fucking Bow Wow is now a fucking 35-year-old guy.
Honestly, he had a rough go of things.
That's so dumb.
I do
I
want to
like to
say,
brought
I
him
will
back
put it
though.
this way. This is the second best 10th entry of a franchise that goes to space.
Oh, I don't know if I think I'd rather watch this again than watch Jason
Fuck
X.
no. At least I can tell you the plot of Jason X. I don't even know what the MacGuffin in this is. Like I can't
It's
even
it's
remember
it's
what the
it's
hell is it.
because it's some football thing. Is
It's
that this one?
yeah, at least like I know Chris, you're not a big fan of like the Eye of God thing, but at least it has like a utility to it, and
I
it's
actually don't know what this.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
actually
don't know
now
what the
trying to
fuck this
remember.
thing
I
is.
don't know what it is either.
It's literally the definition of MacGuffin. They might as well have just called it
Now
that.
that I'm thinking about it, I don't think it is the nuclear football. Wasn't that Fate? Hold
Yeah,
on. I,
I
I need
think
to
it
look this
was.
up.
I don't
I
even
actually have
care.
no idea what the MacGuffin is in this movie.
Oh,
Is this the one with the weird magnets?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
This is the Magnet movie.
Is the
The Magnet
magnets?
movie.
Okay, you guys argue. I'm gonna go figure out what the what
No,
the
Yeah, go
MacGuffin
read
was.
Wikipedia and
That's
tell
what I'm
me what the
doing.
hell this movie is
Yeah,
about.
you guys figure it out. I'll figure out what the MacGuffin is. You guys talk soon.
so Zach, here's my defense of this movie.
Okay.
Okay. Up until this point, after like three, I just haven't really enjoyed the direction they took the franchise. Like it doesn't matter. It's fine. I mean, it's fine. But I haven't had a ton of fun. And y'all were making fun of me on Discord for being not fun at a party or whatever, and that's fine. Not these aren't my thing. Although I had some more fun than the others with like I think I enjoyed five a little bit more. Um but this movie, when they started flinging cars through buildings with magnets, I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. And then there was this completely random story point where Lucas Black and Bow Wow were working on a rocket ship, and then they used that rocket ship to go into space as astronauts all of a sudden, and they were like comfortable in space. I was like, okay, obviously nobody cares about this movie anymore, and they're just having like they're just goofing around, and like I'm in. Like they like this it's just so absurd. It's almost an offense to the series, and I'm there for it. Like they just don't care. They-
I'm just, it's just wild to me how much you hated Fate and like didn't really like Seven, which aren't, I don't think, a lot less absurd. Like they jump 3 buildings in Dubai and all this other stuff, but this is where the line hits that suddenly this franchise is fun. It just like I'm honestly just flabbergasted because I
Not
think
Chris.
franchise,
nine is
not
so boring.
franchise, not franchise. This movie is fun.
Yeah, let's not forget Chris is about to shit on 10, so I don't think it. Chris, did you want to be an astronaut when you grew up? Is that like what this is about?
Oh my God, no, no. I actually I've been in trouble before for being like so completely uninterested in space. Like that
Is it
one
because
doc.
you're a flat earther you don't believe in
Yeah,
space?
exactly. That one documentary where oh, there's a Criterion documentary
For
about
for all mankind or something,
For
isn't
All
it?
Mankind. That was one of the first like space things that I was into. I finally saw that a few months back. I was like, oh, that's a really well-made documentary. Um, but yeah, no, no, no. The Titanic and space travel to me are two things that I'm just like I just can't
This
force
is why I
myself.
mean, like, it's a good thing this podcast exists. Chris just named like 2 things I obsessed as a child, and we just would not be friends as children.
No, no, no. And I don't mean to like belay the point because I know I'm kind of a weirdo in that way. Um, but I just love it, and I think it's hilarious when franchises go to space. It's like a kink of mine. Like when Jason went to space, I'm in. Like when Leprechaun goes to space, I'm in.
But
Like
okay, you like Leprechaun Goes to Space? That movie's terrible.
yeah, of course it's
Like it's
terrible. I
awful.
like
Like it's not even fun. Awful.
I
Like
like
at least when he goes to the hood, that's pretty fun.
yeah,
Like I can get
Leprechaun.
down with him going to the hood twice.
What is that called? Leprechaun 3. It's
In
Leprechaun Goes
in
to
the
the hood.
hood. I think it's
Yeah,
called
it's
In the Hood or something.
in
yeah.
the yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he
That
does
is
it twice. Like they Space was so bad for the Leprechaun series. They said they'd rather take him to the hood twice, and that was more entertaining.
Would you
yeah,
guys like to know what the MacGuffin is in this movie?
Yes, please tell me.
It is a thing called Project Ares, which is a shit, I lost it. Which
You
can
already forgot.
which can hack into any computer weapons system.
It's this. They've already done that. It's like the Eye of the God thing. It's the same thing.
Well, no,
It's
God's Eye is not the same. God's Eye, you can hack into any camera or anything and see it. That's why it's called God's Eye. It lets you see if it has a
my
camera and
IQ
it's
is
connected to a
dropping during
network.
this explanation. It is dropping.
I'm just saying that you're wrong. You know,
I'm wrong, but not by that much.
yeah, well, you know, God's Eye lets you see anything, and Project Ares lets you control any weapon.
Okay.
So there you go.
Seems like they should have just taken like a hold of that and just like nuked the fucking satellite.
or just they should have nuked the sun.
Yeah, I mean, hell, just make it sun. Let's just do sunshine. You know, just go for it.
Yeah, I think it's weird to like 9 and not like 10. I get it. There's reasons I hated 10, which we can get into, but
I
for
think it's
me,
weirder to like 9 and not like 7. I
Like
think that's
seven is
weirder.
wild. Like that. Like
7 is a
honestly, as
legit
far
good movie.
like like seven, and I guess we should talk about Lynn. This is his last one. You know, I think the thing with like Lynn coming back is I think it highlighted for me that as much as I like 3 and I like 5, and I, you know, credit to the dude because I think he is talented at certain things. He is just like compared to like Juan, he's just not nearly as strong as an action director. Like Juan is just
Yeah.
much more
I
talented.
think Juan is just a more talented director. He's had more experience, I guess, because obviously Justin Lin has pretty much only made these Fast and Furious movies,
Yeah.
and obviously Better Luck Tomorrow. Whereas James Wan has kind of just dipped his toe into a lot of different stuff and just has more experience. So I think it's
Yeah, and
just
I
better.
feel like he you know, I don't know, Juan's always kind of willing to do some weird stuff with the camera, and I think that, you know, I know you don't like Malignant, but The camera movement in Malignant is pretty fun. Like he does a lot of stuff, the stuff with action that I think keeps it dynamic.
Yeah.
Which one is Juan? He did Seven?
Yeah.
Okay. So from like a
The good one.
from like a technical and filmmaking standpoint, it's miles above like anything else.
Yeah.
From I'm fine saying that. It's a like if there was I feel silly saying this. If there was ever going to be a Fast and the Furious movie after 4 that was nominated for an award, it would be 7. It's like a it's like an actual movie.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but like I get it. I get what y'all are saying. Like that's true. It's a different. You can tell it's in the hands of like a capable person. Um, I don't
I hope
know.
Justin Lin doesn't listen to this podcast.
Please, Justin Lin, come on and defend it if you do. We love you. Nine is one of my favorite in the series.
Lynn, I have three of your movies in the top 5 of this franchise, so it's fine. I just think as far as I was like, if I was gonna take directors, I'm trying to sit here and think if he's stronger than the dude who did X. I will say that. The dude who did X is a fucking terrible director.
Oh,
Actually,
um,
I don't have anything else to bitch about with 9. Yeah, so I'm good to go to 10 and complain about it, unless you have more you'd like to get into.
are we gonna do a ranking at the end of this?
Yeah, I mean, I have mine up. I'm
Oh
ready.
yeah, actually, I never updated my ranking for these three, so I'll do that in the meantime. But yeah,
Then
we definitely can do a ranking.
I'll do just a quick defense of 9, and then I won't get into the overall franchise. But the the thing, like John Cena's plot is ridiculous, and I laughed my ass off when they tried to force him in as Don's brother. And the combination of that and him like mugging up the camera, he's such a bad actor. Him like mugging up the camera and trying to somehow be like angry at Vin Diesel the whole time. I could just, it just felt like nobody cared and they were just goofing around and I could kind of I got into it. Like the combination of him plus going to space plus the magnets, it just wore me down. And at some point, like midway through the movie, I was like, "Fuck it, this is just fun. I'm just gonna lean back and have fun with it," because it's obvious that they don't care anymore. So I won't care either, and I'll just have fun. Um, and that's why I like 9. It just
See, the
felt like
issue was I didn't care at the end either.
yeah, like a lot of the stuff that I watch, I like, there's this whole idea of like a vanity project that is like it falls under the so bad it's good category a lot of times. Um, like Get Even is a big one. These kind of just somebody inherits a couple $100,000 and decides to make a movie somehow for whatever reason, and the movie's just so bizarre and alien that it's kind of funny. And to me, this was like bordering on a vanity project, like in terms of just being so weird. And I can't believe it was made for $225 million.
I,
Like,
I think the one thing I will say in this movie's favor is it has solidified that point we made. I don't remember what episode we talked about it, where Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, and that chick whose name I can't remember, if they had a spinoff, I actually think it would be pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah, they're the highlight of the movie.
I
They really are.
agree.
They're the highlight of like the last few movies
Yeah, I mean,
since they killed Han and obviously brought him back. But like, if they like legit, like if they just did like a spin-off where it was just like Ludacris, fucking Tyrese, Han, and Natalie Emmanuel, I think is
yeah,
the
that sounds
girl.
right. That sounds
If they
right.
just did it with those four, like that's fine. I'd watch that.
Yeah, and I know why they wouldn't. It does not have the star power for them to justify. Because I mean, obviously they do Hobbs and Shaw because you have The Rock and Jason Statham.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know it's going to make money. But I would be so down
cowards.
for like a ludicrous led movie. Like, give it to me. I'm cool with it.
And it's funny because Neve asked me during this as well. She was like, "Is like why did I keep bringing Ludacris?" And I'm like, "Because he's awesome."
Yeah.
She's like, "He's not an actor though." I was like, "But he's but he's the best part of these movies. So
And
So
I mean,
like,
and it's so funny because you think back, he came in two, right? Like
yeah,
yeah,
too, yeah.
it's so funny to think back, like because whoever watched two and put a bet that he's going to be in the series in 20 years, that would be an amazing bet.
And be like a genius computer hacker guy who can fucking drive a rocket. You know, yeah.
I guess we should. I guess before we move on to 10, I guess we should move on to how they kind of end the thing. So this is another way they could have just ended the series, right? When they have the skyline like drive back up, like
Yeah.
100%,
yeah. I mean, we're there again, right?
yes, absolutely. And I really wish they would have, um, because I'm about to, yeah, I'm Jason X is fresh in my mind. Um, so there's a million reasons why I think this is one of the worst things ever filmed, but um, yeah, this would have been a good send off.
Yeah, and I just
Unfortunately, it wasn't though.
and I mean it does kind of stretch like the fact that Mia's her name, right? God, it's so
Yeah.
bad. She's been in
Yeah,
eight of
yeah,
these
yeah.
movies and I can't remember her name. Um, it's still weird that she's like involved in this and he isn't. It's like I mean, good on him to be the stay-at-home dad in this
Yeah, he's minding
situation,
the
but
kids.
yeah, like fair enough.
The modern
But
man.
I don't know. It's just strange to me.
Oh, Paul Walker. Yeah. Well, it's odd that she's back because they don't do anything with her character. It's
Yeah, I
like,
mean that should be like her sibling too, I guess.
yeah,
But
yeah. I guess they tried in nine. They try to bring her in because, but like she doesn't do anything. Like she just kind of has a couple lines and runs around. But like,
I mean, the last time she did anything was like five. Like straight
yeah,
up, that was the last time she had like anything to do.
she was behind a car in five, right?
Yeah. She helped in the robbery at the beginning.
Like Michelle Rodriguez beats up freaking well, not beats up, but she
Well,
almost
Charlize. That's it. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
one.
Charlize Theron. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this and she almost catches Momoa on a motorcycle and she's like they do so much with her character and Mia they're just sort of I don't think they know what to do with her. Um
I think it's because she's really the last one they've kept grounded in some way. Like
mhm.
and what do you do with her in a series that is just so far from being grounded, especially when
Killer.
the only person trying to keep it grounded is Tyrese and his whole job is to explain what is happening, which he is the worst at in this movie. Like like I think that's all the only lines he has, which is hilarious. I do think that's funny, but that's literally his whole script at this
They
point.
they are kind of abandoning his character. I will say that you're right. Like he his dialogue is progressively getting worse and in 10 well everybody's dialogue.
They're writing him Wikipedia summaries.
Yeah.
What's happened in the last five scenes.
And they're trying to like because this is the one where he only agreed to do it when Mr. The Rock was not in it, right?
Yeah, because there was all that fallout by them, doing the spinoff, which I mean, you can blame like on The Rock, but I mean, it's also Universal's decision as well. So it's
Oh,
like
sure.
at the end of the day, sure, be pissed at him, I guess, but at the end, also Universal was going to do a spinoff regardless.
Well, I made money for him. I mean,
No,
it was
yeah, I mean, I think I actually before we move on, I'm going to look up what the box
Hobbs
office
Shaw
on
made a fuck ton. It was like
well,
750 million or something.
yeah. So Hobbs and Shaw and F9 are almost exactly identical. So like,
$760 million.
yeah,
That is insanity. And it did great worldwide. Like
yeah,
honestly, it didn't even do that good like in comparison in the US that only made $174 million in the US.
yeah,
It killed it overseas.
yeah. They this whole like this whole thing that like foreign stars sell.
I think they're
Cena's
big in the Chinese market, which is
Makes
a lot of
sense.
franchises are not because a lot of them, there's disputes and stuff about content or whatever. Um, but I think these films do really well in the Chinese market.
well,
Yeah, F9 did a little worse, but also, I mean, credit to F9. This was like height of COVID, I think, when it came out. Yeah, it came out
mm,
June 25th, 2021. I mean, we were a little over a year into COVID.
Yeah.
to make $750 million in COVID is pretty amazing.
Yeah, but then I think Fast 10 is where it kind of no Fast 10. They always keep talking about how bad it did, but it did have a wild Jesus. Okay, let's move on to Fast X
Yeah.
to talk about
No,
this
I want to talk about.
$340 million budget.
Oh, darn,
What
you
the
spoke.
fuck?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna. That was like a point. I saw the budget and I had to do a triple take. I had to double check it because I didn't believe the Wikipedia number. Um, it
That's
was
insanity. What
how,
this movie looks like shit. And I get okay, let's just move on to Fast X because I have lots of thoughts. I have more
I
thoughts
will
now than
I
I
will
did.
read the description for Fast X, which is another long one, unfortunately for me. Right, okay. Over many missions and okay, actually, I need to put on a more serious voice. Over many missions and against impossible odds, Dom Toretto and his family have outsmarted, outnerved, and outdriven every foe in their path. Now, they confront the most lethal opponent they've ever faced, a terrifying threat emerging from the shadows of the past, who's fueled by blood revenge, and who is determined to shatter this family and destroy everything and everyone that Dom loves forever.
Jesus. Can you do audiobooks for like erotica? I think it would be hilarious.
Can I just say this is once again another fucking description that is barely English.
Yeah,
What the
because
fuck
I
is
did not learn anything from that description. Basically,
fuel fueled by blood revenge? What does that mean?
blood
Blood?
revenge. Like it's different from water revenge. This is because it's family.
blood is
Yeah.
thicker than one.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I mean,
Anyway,
technically he got hit. This is how deep this movie is. He fell into the water in Fast Five.
yeah,
Now it's he's out for blood revenge.
that's true.
Yeah,
Blood is
that's
thicker than
that's
water.
yeah, that's what we're going with. So yeah, this movie looks like shit, by the way, for a movie that cost this much money.
How was the only thing I can think of is they paid salaries.
Well, I think it's that. And I'm sure there was some delays because of COVID. That inflated fucking everything. But I think this highlights more is you have a lot of these directors who either learned how to shoot for effects or they are good at shooting for effects. And then you get a director who I guarantee you he does not know how to shoot for effects. And that all because it's the same problem you have in like Marvel movies of why they're so fucking expensive.
Oh, I see what you mean. I mean, okay, so Louis Leterrier is if I had not seen anything else from him, I would assume it was either a new director coming on the scene or just an absolute dog shit director. But he has a few decent movies in his portfolio. Like the Transporter movies are pretty fun. And I'll defend Now You See Me. I think that's a fun movie.
That movie's fun until the explanation.
I know I'm a sucker for explaining magic, and so I like the Penn and Teller thing. I'm not saying Now You See Me is a great movie, but I did have fun with it. I just stunned that a human being directed this movie.
And the way it looks too, like I can't explain it. It just has a cheap look to it.
Yes.
Like for a movie that has this many effects. Now, I set everyone up perfectly for Rocket League in the Vatican. So you were forewarned in episode one.
I actually like that.
That seems actually like the coolest scene in the movie.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I like when he's able to outdrive a bomb.
That's just tearing the shit out of the Vatican.
Yeah, that was fun. It reminded me a lot of Godzilla X Kong, the way that Godzilla just goes to sleep in the Coliseum. Um, I like that.
And maybe this is like maybe it's like my frustration or where we binge these, but like we watch like you really like the Godzilla X Kong and I do too.
Fuck
For
yeah,
some reason I am fine with that. Now I probably would have a lot of the same criticisms. Like I don't know. I don't know. There's just something about Fast X that just annoys me. And I'm not really sure what it is. I like it better than Fast 9.
Well, to be fair, like when you have a movie about a giant lizard and a giant ape and getting ridiculous, like that's fine, I guess. But when you have a film about a bunch of just normal humans doing ridiculous stuff, then I think it's a little bit fair to be a bit more annoyed. Like, how can you get annoyed about the fact that Godzilla sleeps in a Coliseum? He's a fucking giant lizard.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny, I guess. Like that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, I guess we'll go back to Fast Nine for just a second, where they have that entire like scene and conversation about them being invincible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this could actually like, I don't know, acknowledge something, even as stupid as that would be. And then it's just like, oh, okay. And then they like double down in it at X because it's just like, okay, now there's bombs.
Yeah. The the writing in 9 is I'm not going to defend, but I think they were somehow able to capture like a fun movie. The writing in 10, I don't understand it. I literally don't understand it. Like Jason Momoa's character, I don't get at all. Like there's a scene just randomly where they make him like a horror villain and he like has two people that are dead that he's having for tea.
I actually like that scene, which I
Oh,
like Jason Momoa in this as being entertaining.
Yeah, I'm gonna
oh,
put this into terms that might make it make sense to you. So, and this is actually a callback to what Zach said a few minutes ago about The Dark Knight. Jason Momoa just plays Heath Ledger's Joker for this movie.
Which is funny because Jason Statham kind of did a different part of the Joker for Fast Seven. So it's like if you put their two characters together, you get like a discount Heath Ledger's Joker.
I
Oh yeah,
mean,
because he did the thing in Dubai and he came into the building and stuff.
Yeah, he's just being chaotic. Like that's
Yeah.
Jason Statham's whole thing in Seven. He's not even the main villain in Seven, but he's the most memorable part of it.
that's offensive to Heath Ledger's memory, though. Like calling Momoa maybe on some level. I kind of see the direction you're going, but he's just awful in this. Like he's such a bad actor in this, and I don't know if it's his fault or just the way it's written or some combination of the two. But I hated his scenes. Like I don't like the fact that he was like trying to be cutesy and make having little lines like, "Well, this is awkward," and like, oh,
You know, it actually kind of reminds me, since we've talked a little bit about Marvel. You know, when people kind of make fun of Marvel, they'll do the memes where like he's right behind me, isn't he? It's like that type of thing, but like has supposed to be a little satirical towards it. It's like
yeah.
almost like a parody of that, but it not done in a parody way.
This is why movies are great because I think Jason Momoa is the best part of this movie and I love every
No,
single
I
thing
actually
he's
like
in.
Jason.
I
As
think
far
he's
as villains go,
hilarious.
I think he's. I mean, especially when we've had villains like, I have, of course, Too Fast, Too Furious ranked higher, but he's definitely more memorable than that fucking villain. I can't even tell you who's the villain in Fast Four.
It's unnamed drug lord number 3.
Yeah, and then like I said with Seven, even though Seven's great, the main villain is not memorable.
Who?
It's
Jason Statham.
it's oh, I can't ever say his
Oh, it's
name.
Jaimin Hunsu.
Yeah, that guy. He's the
Oh
main
yeah, but
villain
it's
in
also
Seven.
kind of Jason Statham though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Jason Statham. Like as far as like plot specific, it's the other guy is the villain.
Well,
But
this movie has. I was kind of laughing because they have the whitewashed Dwayne Johnson. They have that that guy that is with the agency that takes over for Mr. Nobody, who delivers lines exactly like The Rock would say, but he's like the white version.
Yeah, and he's the
Um,
second Aquaman in this movie. There's two Aquaman in this movie. He's the second one. He was Aquaman in
oh
Smallville.
damn, that's impressive.
This
wait,
movie has two Aquaman in it.
wait, what do you mean? He was in the Aquaman movies?
No, no, no.
Well,
He was Aquaman in Smallville.
yeah, and then Jason Momoa is the most recent incarnation of
Yes.
Aquaman.
I see.
So both this movie has two Aquaman. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know,
Oh
name
man,
another movie that has two Aquaman.
I forgot Alan Rickson was
Multiverse
in
movie.
this movie.
Who? Oh,
The guy who plays Jack Reacher now.
Alan Rich. That's the guy we're talking about.
Oh, is it? Is he? Oh, that is right, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I was thinking
That's
somebody else.
that's
I
the
was thinking
dude we're
somebody else
talking
from
about.
Smallville. Oh yeah, that's right.
Brie Larson's in this
It's. I
movie.
think it's because he's buffed up to like the biggest
He's
dude on the
so buff.
planet. I can't. It's
He's
hard to
like
even recognize.
he's like mega Chad. It's like
Yeah,
insane how buff this dude is. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy buff. Pete Davidson is in this movie,
that's right. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is important. Um, who else?
Well,
John Cena.
Gal Gadot
Oh my
comes back.
God. John Cena. The fucking I'll just say John Cena's last scene in this movie is so fucking dumb.
Oh, where he like sacrifices himself.
Oh my God. It's so bad. And it's so weird.
Did he? I mean,
Um,
did he? Maybe he had WrestleMania that year. I was like, why get killed off? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you get killed off in the series. I mean,
yeah, it really
who's
does.
been permanently killed at this point?
I don't think anybody yet is yet to be actually confirmed dead. Because as we saw, I assume you guys stuck around for the post credits
Yeah,
scene.
Gal Gadot is at the fucking end for
So,
some reason.
yeah, so like there's nobody stays fucking dead in this series apparently. Um, but I did actually like John Cena's scenes where he was like looking after Vin Diesel's kid.
No, didn't.
The part where they escape the plane is so good. Um, but but did you guys like? I don't know if this is just me, but like Vin Diesel's kid, it's a different actor than the last movie,
Yeah,
and he looks like The Rock. He doesn't look like Vin Diesel's
that
kid.
would be a wild. They would never allow it, but I would love that to be like a plot point.
That'd be so good, wouldn't it? Because obviously, like The
That's
Rock and Elena were paired up first.
yeah, that
They
would just be
were
good drama. That's just
That'd be
good
such
drama.
good drama. And he looks so much like The Rock. He doesn't look like Vin Diesel at all.
And
He
it would
looks so much
explain
like the
the
young
fucking
Rock.
like 2 year pregnancy she
I was
had.
gonna say, yeah,
Yes, it
It would
totally
make the
fucking
movies
would.
make more sense.
It would be such a good twist if that was to be the case.
And you
It
know, it
would
would be
be.
amazing if Vin Diesel and The Rock don't actually hate each other. This has just been the longest con in history to set up that twist. They just went all out for it.
Uh, so much discussion for movies that are so bad. Um,
I would actually, I mean, we're gonna get to the ranking. I would actually say most of these movies are at least good, or a
I would
very,
agree.
yeah. I like as far as franchises go. I actually think it's fairly solid.
Like I only feel insulted by two of these movies.
what?
I mean, I only have one, if we don't count the little shorts, rated lower than 2.5. Yeah. So that's not that bad.
It's not our fault that Chris doesn't like to have fun. He just wants to go and watch some fucking Goddard film, be a fucking asshole, and then watch some
I
porn
think I told Alicia
afterwards.
this one time. I was like, it's funny. Like when we first started, I was like, me and Chris will definitely have more in common because we both like these schlocky things. And Adam, he likes more of the artsy stuff. And as this podcast went on, I was like, I have way more in common with Adam when it comes to movies.
Yeah, it's true.
I like to have fun. Like you shouldn't have been surprised. I'm a guy who like actively seeks out and watches Marvel movies and doesn't hate them. So you should have seen it coming. I like to have fun. I'm sorry, that's a crime.
No, but even you're down on phase 4, right?
Yeah.
Overall.
What are we on, like phase 7? Because everyone's forgot like the last few.
No, this is the longest drawn out phase. I don't
No, I
even
think
think.
we're actually in phase 5, right? Like well,
No, we're not in phase
oh,
five
we're
yet. We're
not.
still
No,
we're
it's
Jesus
still we're
after
still in
the
Christ.
phase four,
Jonathan
apparently.
Majors movie that they're having to figure out what to do with it. Isn't that
Uh,
his name? Jonathan Majors?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one who
He's
allegedly
the
beat
piece of shit,
somebody.
yeah.
Yeah, allegedly, I guess we'll go with.
But they're recasting him, or they're doing something which we don't know what it is yet, right?
I guess. I don't know. Who fucking
I don't
knows
know.
these
Maybe
days?
they'll bring it up in Deadpool because they know Deadpool's about to make a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but talk about, yeah, it's a king franchise. I just, for me, the most egregious thing in Fast X, I could I can sit through Cena and Jason Momoa mugging the camera. I guess I could sit through Vin Diesel being the most wholesome man on the planet and just having these long drawn out scenes that kind of slowly zoom in as he just like smiles at his son because he's the best dad who has ever lived. The most egregious thing for me is they did the fucking thing I hate in franchises where they make it like a clip show or something of like previous movies. Like there's a for some reason
They pulled a Friday the 13th.
They pulled a
did
Friday 13 Part 2.
they did it
I fucking
twice.
hate that.
They did it twice. They first of all they did it with the whole recreation of the bank vault scene.
And it's dumb because in fairness to like the 80s, not everyone had a VCR yet. Not
Yeah.
everyone got into that. So they had to like recap the fucking movie. Yeah, there's just no reason. Like, oh, we're gonna recap Fast Five, one of the most popular in our series.
Yeah, but also it was 5 movies ago, so and it's not like they just did a complete recap. It's like one of those ones where like they added scenes to give it context for
Which is the
No.
most that Jason Momoa ad is the most awkward looking thing too.
So bad. But they also did it with White Rock
White
when
Rock.
he was talking about like he was standing in a room that I don't even know what that room was, like some kind of weird Professor X room with like screens all around him. And then Wonder Woman walked up and he was like, "It's my show now." But he sat there and recapped the whole franchise to her. Why? So like out of the 2 hours and 20 minutes of movie, like 20 minutes was just dedicated to either a recreation of five or like a recap of the franchise with White Rock. I don't get
Yeah,
it. Like why? It's so
why not?
stupid. No, don't defend it. It it's bad writing. Like that's the thing. It's just awful writing.
I mean, there's only so far I'll call the writing bad. Like, I definitely do think the last two have had the most egregious, but like, even the best ones of the series are just kind of like the best you can say about the writing is that wasn't bad.
But guys, you're talking about the movie
Yeah.
where Vin Diesel said the line, "You made one mistake. You didn't take away my car." And then he
I
jumps it
love
off a
it.
dam.
That scene is fantastic.
Amazing. And I knew it was going to happen. As soon as they show a dam, I'm like, Vin Diesel's definitely driving down this dam. It is 100% happening. And I said to him, he was like, watch, he's going to drive off this dam. And then they obviously ramps up the trucks. And I'm like, here it comes. He's going to drive off the dam. And he's like, they're not going to drive off the dam. That's stupid. And they're gonna drive off the dam.
It's
Why would
like
they be on
they
a
destroyed a
dam?
satellite with a car in the last one. This is like
Exactly.
nothing
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Exactly. No, I actually didn't mind that. That
amazing.
was probably my favorite part of the movie. I guess. I mean, like it was. Yeah.
I assume we're all going to be in the theaters, when part two comes out
Yeah,
in
I will be. I
2026.
will
We'll
straight
all be
be
there
there
opening night.
I'm sick of
because we have to come back here with all of our guests to talk about the next one.
Yeah, that would be great, actually, in
We all have to come back.
2026. Uh, I took us, this is always the kind of franchise that other people had watched and I had never watched. Like all my friends had kind of watched them and stuff, and talk about them. And I'm like, nah, I never watched Fast and Furious, whatever. And I was talking to them recently. I'm like, oh, I finally seen all the Fast and Furious movies now, and they were like, oh, I don't know if I've seen them all because I was like, I can't remember where it came up, but I said, oh, it's crazy that like John Cena plays Vin Diesel's brother, right? And they're like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, have you guys not seen Fast and Furious 9? One of my friends is like, what's the one where they have the really long fucking scene where the plane is just going on the landing strip forever and ever? And I'm like, that was like six. Like, oh, that's the last one I saw. Like, oh,
Well, it's like
okay.
my neighbor is like obsessed with Fast and Furious. And I don't know if like COVID did this to a lot of people, but I've kind of noticed the same thing because he has not seen 9 or 10. And I'm like, I've seen 9 and 10 now. Like,
Yeah, I
and I
feel
didn't
like
even
an odd person for seeing them all now. It's
yeah,
weird.
it's like even the people who are huge fans, like, no, I haven't seen that yet. I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool.
I think it's just because it's such a franchise that's like it's for the common man.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not for people who are like who give a shit about keeping up to date. It's for the kind of people who are like, yeah, I guess I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah, if it's on, if it shows up on Peacock, why not?
If it's on Netflix or something, I'll throw it on. It's it's
Yeah.
it's it's the common man's franchise, and I don't mean common in a bad way or anything. It's just
No, but I mean,
that's where
and
it comes
maybe
across.
that's part of like we talk about the FX thing, like Fast X, whatever you want to call it. That's FX. Wow, there's so many better titles for this movie. Um, yeah, oh man, I blanked out trying to think of better names now. So just ignore my point. I just ignore it. I just sat there and said FX probably sounds better, but I know why they
But there's
don't do it.
FX already exists. It's
Yeah,
already a franchise.
yeah. Oh well.
Wait,
Anyway,
it is?
Yeah, FX was like, wasn't it? Is it Mel, it's not Mel
Oh,
Gibson.
no, you're talking about the TV channel?
No, there's a movie from the 80s called FX, and there was FX too.
Oh, okay.
FX was an action thing, is it? Wasn't it?
and it's
Okay.
also
Uh,
just like a shorthand for saying like special effects.
Exactly.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's fair.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Never mind. I was thinking of things to talk about that are more interesting than the Fast and the Furious franchise, but maybe we
Well,
can.
maybe it's time to do our ranking unless anybody else has
Yeah,
got like any
no.
final thoughts on FX. I don't think we'll be able to like fully do this until we get the other one or two, however many of these left there are.
Yeah, yeah, it won't matter. I mean,
Seven, hopefully.
this was just a nostalgia. This was a farewell piece, right? Like the whole movie set up to just kind of like say goodbye.
They've
right?
been doing that since 6, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Han looks.
Par for the course.
This is the first movie where Han doesn't make me question my sexuality. He looks like he's 80 in this movie. Like he aged so much in the last
I
five.
mean, he
He
started
died,
in
to be
this
fair.
series in, let me see, 2002. So this is 20 years later, 21 years later.
No, I know, but
And
it's
actually, I
like
forgot to mention just during F9. Sorry, this is just something I completely just you mentioned Han. What the fuck is with that explanation for how he isn't dead? They were just like,
They
they
didn't
were
even
just
give a
like,
shit.
yeah, Kurt Russell's like, yeah, we had the technology to do what?
Like, what? How did this
Is
technology work?
is that a hologram? Like, what are we seeing here? You
And they
know,
would have been
like,
better off not putting Gibson in the scene because it's like he's trying to do the whole let me explain this, but he's actually just drawing more attention to there's no explanation. This
yeah.
makes sense.
It's just they basically just said, you know what, we fucking did it because we could, and they're like, but how? Don't ask how. We had the technology.
You're like,
Okay,
fuck it, sure.
but it was like a
sure.
long explanation for it not to be anything.
Yeah. They never actually explicitly said like because they show the crash and then it like skips to like the other side of the road where Han and Kurt Russell are watching the crash and you're like, well,
What
like
is he, a
what?
hologram?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Is it a hologram? That's the only thing I can think of. Because they never actually explicitly say how they did it. It's so weird. Anyway, sorry, that just popped into my head when you mentioned Han. Anyway, yeah, rankings. Who wants to go first?
Are we just going to do them all straight, or are we going to do like 12 and then 11? Then how do we want to do it?
No, all straight, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'll straight. Yeah, for sure.
All right, I will go from worst to best.
Sure.
So it is going to be F9, FX, the Fast and Furious or Fast and Furious 4, whichever one you want to go with. Fast and Furious 6, Hobbs and Shaw, The Fast and the Furious, The Fate of the Furious, Better Luck Tomorrow, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious 5, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, and then Fast and Furious 7.
Oh, you should have done that in the other order, man. I'm so confused. Do it again, but from best to worst this
Okay,
time.
best to worst is Fast and Furious 7, Tokyo Drift, Fast 5, Too Fast, Too Furious, Better Luck Tomorrow's 5, just so it has like some breakup.
Okay.
6 is Fate of the Furious, The Fast and the Furious, the first one. Hobbs and Shaw, Fast and Furious 6, Fast and Furious 4 is number 10, I guess. Fast X, and then Fast 9 or F9. I don't even know what that one's called.
That's crazy how high Hobbs and Shaw is. Okay. Uh yeah. Movies. Um I don't really have any thoughts other than I disagree with most of it, but sure. Chris, you want to do yours or will I do mine? I'll do mine, I think.
Yeah, go ahead. Go do. I can do mine quickly, so you can be the voice
Okay.
of reason at the end.
Sure,
Um,
okay.
God, I don't. How do you rank the bottom of this? They're all the same movie. Um, all right, Tokyo Drift. Um, Better Luck Tomorrow. Too Fast. F9.
Wild.
The Fast and the Furious. Those are the top five.
Is
And
that the first one? The fast?
yeah,
Yeah, that fast. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Then Fast 5, F7, Fast and the Furious 6. I don't even know whatever the hell they're called. Fate of the Furious. Number 4, Fast and Furious. And then somewhere way, way, way below all of it. Oh, Hobbs and Shaw, and then somewhere way below it is FX.
I'm just, it's just wild to me that seven's ranked that low.
Insanity. Um, for mine, I'll just state that the only two I actively dislike are the last two, and I haven't included Better Luck Tomorrow because it's not a Fast and Furious movie. I don't give a shit what what Justin Lin wants to say. It's not a Fast and Furious movie, so I'm not putting in this ranking. Right, starting with best F7, Furious 7, Too Fast, Too Furious, Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious 6, Fast 5, The Fate of the Furious, and then F9 and F10 are just kind of similar. Then The Fast and the Furious, the first one, and then Fast and Furious, the fourth one, and then Hobbs and Shaw's a piece of shit. So the only two I actively actually don't like are 4 and Hobbs and Shaw. everything from like Fate, The Furious, F9, 10, and then the first film, they're all pretty equal for me. The only three I like will say that I like love will be 7, 2, and 3, and then F6 and F5 very similar for me as well.
Yeah, I would say my top four are the ones I would go back to a decent amount, and I would probably go back to Fate of the Furious. That one was fun enough, but I like 7, 3, 5, and 2
Like
a
I would
lot.
go back and rewatch the majority of these. Like the only ones I would probably skip would definitely be 4 because it's pointless, and Hobbs and Shaw because it's pointless. And I would probably skip 1 just because I just don't feel like I need to watch it.
Yeah, like
But
I have one rate like it's 7, and I mean it's not a bad movie. I think I gave it 7 out of 10. Actually, let me look. Yeah, I gave it like 7 out of 10, and I mean that's good. It's a good movie. Not what I'd really come to Fast and Furious for, though. I want to see them jump 3 buildings in Dubai.
exactly, exactly. Right. So look, we've gotten to the end of this journey, Fast and Furious. We don't actually really have a plan for what the next discussion episode's going to be, so we'll kind of figure that out off podcast. We'll have some interviews coming up. We do have some kind of exciting stuff coming up, kind of tangentially related to this podcast. We'll probably do like a separate. I'll probably put out like a separate like mini episode to kind of talk about that once all of that stuff is kind of ready to go. But for now, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I consider you all family, and I hope that you feel the same for me.
Of
And
course, of course.
yeah, it's been
We are now
for
all closer having to experience this together,
I
Les.
agree.
Yeah,
I truly do think that.
I'm so happy that y'all had a good time with this franchise. As family, it means a lot to me that y'all are in a good place. And I'm also happy that it's done so we can get on to actual movies again. Uh,
I'll just gonna just put this out there. This was Chris's idea. That's all I'll say.
yes,
I
This
know.
this was your idea, man.
Well,
Nobody made you do this.
I'm happy to have seen them. I will say that. And it was we were just coming off of the brutal gauntlet of every single Von Trier movie, and we were like, okay, we need to do a summer popcorn thing, and I just couldn't think of a good franchise, and I was like, well, I've been curious to see the Fast and the Furious movies for a while, and it was either that or just the completely boring Mission Impossible franchise, or
What? That's not boring. Mission Impossible is one of the best currently running
I
franchises.
have not watched any of the sequels yet, but it's good. I've heard a lot of good things about like Fallout, and I guarantee you,
So
Chris would hate
good.
it. Chris would hate it.
Fallout is amazing.
Without seeing it, Chris would despise it. He would
maybe.
like 2. He would like 2 because John Woo directed
He actually would like 2 because 2 fucking sucks.
it.
Wait, who's the director for two?
Woo.
John Woo, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could get behind John
Yeah. It
sometimes.
was like, and then is it Abrams 3?
Abrams is 3 and 4.
Which one
He
did
did
Brad Bird
4.
do?
Yeah, Abrams did 4, I'm pretty sure. It goes
So and then
protocol.
Oh, no,
Christopher, what's his name,
no.
did the last 3.
Brad Bird did one, right? Or was he a writer?
Oh, yes, no, you're right. Brad Pitt did Ghost Protocol, actually, now that I think about it.
Brad Pitt?
And then, not Brad Pitt, Brad Bird.
Red Bird. Okay. Okay. I was like,
And
damn, I didn't know
then
he directed that.
yeah, Christopher McQuarrie took over, I'm pretty sure, for all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Who's just like an absolute dog shit writer. Like I can't even imagine a movie that he wrote. And
He didn't write, I don't think he wrote them though, he directed them.
oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm
And
saying like what has he
he's
made
good
that
to,
Chris hates so much?
yeah.
Like Way of the Gun's pretty good.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this the
He's a
guy?
very competent
Yeah, like I'm
technical
not sitting
action
here.
director.
Yeah,
Oh, wait a
like
minute. No, I'm getting him confused with somebody else. Is he the guy that was a co-writer for Usual Suspects?
I have no idea.
I mean, I'll go with that. The Tom Cruise Mummy is dog shit, but everybody knew that before it came out that it was terrible.
He did Top
And he
Gun
likes
Maverick
Tom
as well.
Cruise.
Yeah, he did Top Gun Maverick too.
He
They
did
work well together.
Valkyrie, Jack Reacher, Edge of Tomorrow. Damn.
They're
No,
like the Scorsese and De Niro of the modern era.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So
That's
director,
fair.
he actually hasn't done that much. He's actually only
Anyway,
directed 5 films.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
sure.
usual
I'm sure our
suspect.
listeners do not give a shit about this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure not. Yeah,
Unless we're gonna do the Mission Impossible movies in the future, which I'm more than happy to do. But let's wait
yeah.
until
I can
the
finally get to the
next.
sequels.
Well, there's still one that's kind of like the final, like a part two of the last one. So we'll wait till that comes out maybe. So it'll be a couple of years, but we'll do it at some point. They're
Yeah, it'll be
great.
the same time we do the last Fast and Furious together.
Actually, it probably will be very
Yeah.
similar time frame. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
will be.
Ugh.
Anyway, thank you, listeners. We'll keep you updated. Who fucking knows what the next episode's going to be? But knowing us, I'm sure it's going to be wild and crazy.
Okay, I think so.
Thank you.